Everyone pretend podcasting isn't boring.
But first remember, Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. It is free, has everything you need to record and edit audio using your smartphone or computer. You can even make money through ads. With one click, your content goes to Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, and many other platforms. So download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm. That is ANCHOR.FM and start today. Now, let's turn around to our chat.
Rozana, how are you today?
Well, a little bit tired, but everything is okay.
Okay.
It's very nice to be with you here.
Yeah, like we have been here, it has been more than 2 months.
Yeah, it was a great time
in
for
Albania.
Us. Yeah.
Yes. But your hostel is really nice. I really like it.
We put a lot of love and passion on it, so maybe it's not, well, we need a lot of improvements, but whatever, we are trying to do our best, and you help us with it.
Thank you very much. I was wondering, you told us that there was like the name Milingona means ant. Yeah. Why did you pick?
Because in our, let's say, culture, the ant is, a person, let's say, if you want to convert this to a person who works hard, and ants are, even if you see the word in Albanian, it's woman. It's like feminine.
Okay.
I've never thought about an ant, a man ant,
Yeah.
So we are sisters running the hostel, working hard, as you see. And it fits to us, to be honest. It's sweet to us, first of all. And second, it sounds also very like melody if you say the words. And we wanted to avoid also the cliche, let's say, like Tirana backpacker, Albania backpacker, or something which has really something in common with the backpackers, we wanted people to ask themselves, what does this mean, And we already realized that this is the first thing that the persons will ask us once they arrive here is, what does this mean,
Yeah. It's like, I think everybody that I know, they ask what it means, and I start to tell them like, this is ant, but it's like, why? I don't know.
Yeah. Now you know something more, I guess.
Yeah.
So we are 6 sisters.
Oh, 6. But
yes, only 3 of us are working in this business. Yeah. So we have been traveling all our life long. Mm-hmm. Me because of chess, Rita because of her work also, and Verona also because we have families all over the Europe. So we know what it means to be a travelers. Yeah. And we know in our culture we sleep, or let's say if we are in a foreign country, so we will find somebody who we know and who will overnight there,
Yes.
First of all, because we live in a country which is, let's say, more or less a poor country. So we can't afford traveling. Yeah. Second of all, because it's in our culture. If I don't have my cousin there, let's say, a friend of mine will have one. So I can overnight there. And we wanted to find for people who will travel to Albania also a cheaper way to travel and a cheaper way to find accommodation. And our hostel was the second one in the country, to be honest. So nobody had an idea what this means. So I remember the first time we did this opening ceremony and we had a very nice party. Everybody was coming to look at the rooms and to enjoy the music and everything, drinks. And they asked me, where are the men's rooms and girls' rooms and toilets and television and refrigerator? They had no idea what it means. So it was a new thing. Okay. And according to our philosophy of doing things, let's say, because it's not considered a business, to be honest. I mean, for us, it's not a business. It's like a part of us. We think that if you do a new thing, that you have done something good.
Yeah. Because it also helps you to grow and learn new things, right?
Of course. It's not only for us. It's also about our kids. Mm-hmm. They grew up here. They met people from all over the world. now they are, fluent in English.
Yeah.
So they are open-minded, and in a country like Albania, which was like closed and isolated for more than 50 years, this is very important. I mean, we don't have a lot of things to give them, like, let's say, apartments, houses, villas, and things like that. But we give them a lot of knowledges, and we give them a lot of opportunities to be open-minded. And this is, I think, better than anything you can do for your kids.
Now that you mentioned your children and being in Albania when it was closed and everything, how was your childhood when you were a kid? How was it? Because probably it was like completely closed, right?
Well, it was a very hard time. So we were living in one of the, or let's say the only isolated country in the world. It's like nowadays comparable to North Korea. It's totally the same. I remember, I'm ancient, very old. So I remember that time I was a kid. And I know even the faces of the people, they were like nowadays North Korean. Or we couldn't do a lot of things. We were like, we couldn't travel. We couldn't even move from a city to another city without permission. Wow. This was like people have been like sent to the prison just because they were found somewhere in the north, let's say, without permission. And they were, the government in that time, they were like supposing or thinking that they were trying to escape the country. So that's why it was a very tough time. You had no freedom. You had no freedom of speech. You had no freedom of thoughts. It sounds a bit weird, to be honest, but you have to understand that there have been people around the country thinking that I can't think this. They will read my thoughts.
Wow.
It was a very tough time. I can tell you this because we have our own experience. My father was a political prisoner for 7 years. So he got arrested in the day of his marriage, his wedding, let's say. Yeah, wedding, not marriage. And after he came back, it was nothing the same. So my mom was the bride and he was the groom, and he got arrested. They told the people he was thinking to blow up the office of Enver Hoxha, our dictator. Yeah. So if you go to the museum House of Leaves, have you ever been there?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, if I knew this, I could tell you. You could find the name of my father and my grandfather there. It was very like, it touched me a lot, actually. The first time I was with the group from Switzerland, I saw their names there. I knew their names were there because the museum is quite new. It was very emotional, yeah. So my grandfather was murdered during the time of communism, just in the first months of their power, let's say. They came in November 44. My grandfather was killed in February 45. So only some months, without reason, They just wanted to spread some terror all over the country, telling the people we are here now, and it's the play, you will play like we decide, And then my father was like raised in a orphanage. After he came back, he came to Tirana because he was born in Shkodra. He came to Tirana to a military school, and he studied military. Nobody knew that his father was murdered, and he could do his own. But one day they got the infos, the information, and he was unlucky.
Wow.
No, he was the groom.
Yeah.
And my mom, so we weren't.
But it was 7 years.
He was 7 years. My mom was pregnant in this period in the day of their weddings. Yeah. So my sister, she was, just after the prison, then I came. Okay. So, but in this time in Albania it's something which nobody can understand without living it or experiencing, So even the unborn kids, they had the sin of, being public enemy. It's very weird to understand this nowadays. I can't even explain to my kids this. Yeah. So it's hard to explain it to you, of course, or to the people who will listen to the broadcast.
There was some sort of stigma over your family?
Of course, nobody could get scholarship, and not only in my, let's say, small family circle, but also aunts and uncles. So, because his brother or his uncle or it was in prison, so nobody could get a scholarship, nobody could get a good job. Let's say you were always watched from somebody. Secret Service was working very hard to find something wrong on you, just because the history of your family was.
Yeah, it must have been hard. Like, I cannot imagine. Like in Mexico, it happened in 62, 1962. In many countries, it happened, and in that moment, students were targeted because the students were opposing the government. Curiously enough, like most of the students were like communists or like with those ideas. Yeah. So it's funny that when we talk with people from East Europe, like they hate communism, which it makes sense, obviously. And when you talk with people from Latin America, they hate capitalism. It's like,
of course.
Any big power is like.
Well, after the Second World War, actually, communism was kind of a very idealistic way of. They saw it in they saw the future in it,
Yes.
But we recognized then later, because we had it for years and years, for decades. So we recognized that nobody is able to put communism in reality, let's say. So you do, every single country who tried, they did a lot of mistakes on our shoulder, let's say. And when I say our shoulder, I mean the people who. So it was not easy. But I know, even in Italy, not only here, but ex-Yugoslavian countries or Soviet Union, they had a lot of hopes that things will get better after the Second World War. But it was worse than the war.
I know how it happened that, of course, you had this stigma, you couldn't get the scholarship, but is this the reason why you start playing chess and trying to get like a better life from chess?
It's very funny to talk about this. I was very little. I mean, very young. So 3.5 years old. I couldn't decide for myself, of course. And I had no idea that chess would be what it became actually in my life when I began with chess. I know, but my father's idea was to try to produce a genius, let's say. He thought that geniuses are not born, they are made. Yeah. And he was right, I guess. Yeah. And so he thought, one of my family have to survive, but not only for himself, but also for the whole family. And I remember it was too much pressure for me, because I had to win not only for me, I had to be excellent and the best for the family. So I remember when I couldn't understand very good, because I was a kid. But I saw that after a losing game, let's say, home, it was like a disaster, a tragedy. Everybody was very sad, Yes. So, because they saw on my path, let's say, their own salvation also.
And why do you think he chose you?
Well, he didn't choose me. In the beginning, he tried to do it with my sister. She was old enough to understand chess better than me, to be honest. And he was always working with her, and I was always sitting there, looking at them, Okay. And one day I did the huge mistake of my life. I'm kidding. No, it's not. I've never regret that I play chess. So I did this. I told her to move somewhere else. She meant to move somewhere, and I told her, no, move this. And he said, then you, to my sister, goodbye. You, wow. It's your turn.
And did your sister feel bad?
No, she felt very relieved. She could play outside. She could do her own life, And then the party was over for me. But what party? I was a kid.
Yeah, but I understand.
But it's good. I mean, it taught me a lot. It made me the woman I am today. So it's not. I told you I don't regret things. It was not my decision, but somehow it became my decision one day. Once I was able enough to say stop to him, let's say to my father, and then to re-begin because of my passion and because of my pleasure.
Yes. And do you remember, like, more or less, how old were you when you did that move? When you said, like, hey, you should move this?
Less than 4 years. That's why I tried with my kids also the same age actually. So I begin with them to introduce them to chess in the age of 3. But chess, it's a very tough game. It's not easy, and it's not. Well, you have to have the skill or the gift,
Yeah.
So I saw that, or you have to have somebody like my father on your, near to you, yeah. Wow. So, and that's why I tried with them, but I can't imagine how could I be so serious and how could I be so, concentrated.
Yes.
In this age, because I see my kids now,
all over the place.
Yeah, of course. But it was a very different time, so we can't judge the period. So it was nothing else to do in that time. There was no internet, no books, no nothing. So the only thing, or poor way of entertainment, let's say. So for me, it became also the best way of having fun and somehow. Not always, of course, not always.
I can imagine. And how did you feel the first time you won and everybody was cheering for you and it was like, she won?
Yeah, my father was not surprised at all. So I remember when they came and talked to him, do you know she's brilliant? And he said, yes, I know. And do you know she can become champion? And he said, yes, what champion? And they said, like, national champion? And he said, who cares? And they said, like, Balkan champion, European champion, world champion? And he said, yes.
Yes.
This is what I want. Amazing. But we lived in a very strange time, and I left chess, for a certain period in the time I was like on top, not only in Albania, but also in the region. So that's why I couldn't do what we planned to do.
Yeah.
But whatever in the beginning I was really like, people were putting a lot of hopes on me.
Yeah.
And then one day we recognized I'm a very normal person like everybody else.
Definitely you are not definitely there is something extraordinary. It's not normal.
Tell this to my husband.
And also chess, it helps you to travel a lot, right?
Yeah.
You were telling me about all these places. Which one was your favorite place to visit?
Well, I've been all over the world, and in the time that I began to travel, it was like very weird for Albanian people to travel. Yeah. I got the first passport when I was like a kid, and not even the ministers could travel in that time.
Okay.
So my first journey was in Greece, which is nowadays a very common place.
Trip, yeah.
But I remember that in that time it was something like, wow. You saw happy people there. You saw people who could shine,
And it wasn't like that
no,
here.
of course it wasn't not like this here. So, and then the other places were in that time we called it Yugoslavia, but nowadays it's Serbia. Another amazing country for me also. And then all the Europe and special countries also, outside of Europe. I would I love to think about my journey in Beirut. It was beautiful, amazing in Siberia, in Tromsø, North Pole, in let's say the north point of Norway, in India. I had beautiful experience all over these countries. Yeah.
And does the people and the government treat you different in that time?
In that time, I was I remember I will tell you a short story, which is actually now very funny. It sounds very funny, but in that time was very difficult to understand. How could my father do this? They were, like I told you, putting a lot of hopes on me, and my father was very severe. And one day they came, the federation leaders, and they told him, "You have to be careful with Rozana." He said, "With my daughter?" "Yeah, she's not your daughter anymore. She's the daughter of the party." Wow. And my father answered, "Oh, I don't know. Maybe I was drunk when I slept with his party." Wow. Can you imagine this? It was stupid in a way, but he was a crazy man.
And what they did?
Oh, they were so angry. He had to pay for it, you know? I mean, they didn't put him in the prison, but I just wanted to tell you that they treated me differently.
Yeah.
So I remember I was 5 years old. They gave me like a salary, monthly salary. It was not money, but it was like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I had 100 lek, which was a lot of money now. In that time, food. And me as kids thinking about the family.
You were supporting your family.
Of course.
Wow.
I went breakfast and I didn't eat, but I took like bottles of jam and compost. Yeah. So we could bring them to the market and get money out of it. Okay. So we could, this 100 lek that I was able to take, we were converting it in really lek, not
multiplied.
Not multiplying, but I mean, even if we took the same amount, it was very good for the family, like one extra salary, you know? So that's why I was like feeling always very special in the period. But in the meantime, you feel special and you lose something. So, I mean, I felt like too old for my friends and too weird with my friends and weird with the people I was used to stay, because they were very, older than me, and I had to behave like that. So it's not what I would prefer for my kids now. I don't know if you get what I want to say. Yeah.
Do you think that it kind of made you miss a part of childhood and kind of grow faster than you should?
Miss a part? I missed all my childhood. I missed all my childhood. But, I know now that no life is similar to another one. So this was my destiny. I did what I could do, and I did these stupid things in university when I was old enough. I behaved like a kid when I grew up. So
maybe you were old enough to appreciate,
Yeah, of course. I know even with my kids, my husband, he was always like singing and telling them poetry and things like that for kids, or movies. They were watching movies together, and he was explaining them movies for kids. And I was like, oh. Yeah. It was like black for me. Yeah. Nothing. I remember the first book I had to read, because my father gave it to me, was Paganini.
So basically everything was around chess other than small things. Everything was chess.
No. It was small things in my life was like cancelled. It's not that wow. You should feel pity. Well, sometimes I feel pity.
I mean, I feel it's surprising, but there is one saying that says hard times
build.
Yes.
Good people or strong people.
Strong people. So
good times. Yeah, strong people build good times, and good times build weak people. So weak people build
hard times. Yeah. Do you agree with that saying?
Of course.
And do you think that nowadays Albania is going soft?
Yeah, it's going soft, and it's good for the people who are around, but I'm afraid they will be somehow,
Yes. I mean, your husband Nari was also telling us like his story and everything. It's like
it sounds like fiction,
Yes.
I feel like, oh my God, you sound really weird if you talk about it with people who have no idea how it was, Yeah. But it was like that. So even if you Google or you check a little bit online, it's something totally different if somebody who has his own experience tells you, Yeah. But it was very tough.
And around you, like the neighbors, they were like very hungry because basically you were providing an extra salary that you actually need, but all the other people, they didn't have like that kind of like quote.
Yeah, but the other people, they had smaller family than mine.
Oh,
so we were
okay.
6 kids. Can you imagine 6 kids? And in the meantime, we had like all over the neighborhood families with 2 and max 3 kids, or let's say 4. It was like an exception, but with the 6 kids, 1 extra salary is nothing.
Maybe your father tried to recover the time that...
No, I don't think so. My father was kind of a masculist, I guess, and he wanted to have his own son. And we are 6, but we are all girls. This was our sin.
Did he ever
so yeah, he tried
something?
the first one, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Oh my God! Thanks God, somehow he stopped.
Wow, like I didn't expect that answer. And did he ever say something?
Yeah, he was like, oh, it will sound maybe weird a bit now, but I'm very open and I talk too much.
No, it's okay. So
he always said, your mother, it was your mother's fault that I couldn't get a boy, And and one day I came from school and I told him, it's bullshit what you're talking about. It's not up to her, it's up to you, My mom, she has this chromosome and you have this and that chromosome, So it's not up to her. And he said, who said this? And I said, science. And he said, I don't give a fuck of science.
How old were you when that
I was like teenager.
Did you become like kind of rebel when you were a teenager?
Oh my God. I wouldn't be happy with a kid like this. Very rebellious. Yeah.
What was the worst thing that you did?
Well, I left chess.
Oh, and it was like completely a no-no, right?
No, this was something that it was, in the moment I recognized that I could come against, let's say, the situation and him, personally, my father and all the world. The only damage or the huge damage that I could do to everybody was abandoning chess.
Yes.
And I told him, enough with you, enough with this.
Did you have some sort of like antagonizing relationship with your father?
Well, we had like this love and hate in the same time with each other. So we were very similar. And we were not that tolerant to each other.
He kind of choose you like as a project, and that brings good things and bad things at the same time, right?
Of course. Yeah. And when you are really young, you don't understand that at least the goodwill or he tried his best, and it was the best for me too, but not only for me, it was the best for everybody. So, but when you are fed up with it, so you don't think twice, and it was a mistake from me, but I don't regret it either.
I mean, I don't know, it's very funny that he was saying that he wanted a boy, but he raised very strong women.
You can imagine the same thing I thought all my life long. He was always like feeling pity about himself that he couldn't get a boy. In the meantime, he had been talking to us how beautiful it is, to me, especially to me, because with other sisters he was a bit distant. I was the central of his world. His world, the central of his world. So he was trying to convince me how beautiful it is to be a woman, and how good it is, and how great thing you can do, and how many achievements you can achieve,
Yes.
So that's why you see it on me, you see it on my sisters also. We are very strong, and we think there is nothing limits. That we, even now, if I talk to my kids, for example, if you ask Daniele, what are the rules of your family? I remember one day in school, the teacher was asking him about the rules in the family, and he said, in my family, we have a very special rule. Nuk mundem, nuk dua, nuk di. I know this in Albanian, but
it sounds very good. Nuk
mundem, nuk dua, nuk di. I don't know, I can't, and I don't want.
Okay.
So you can't say, I don't know. If you don't know, just know it. I mean, take some info about it. You can't say, I don't want. Okay. Because if it's necessary, you have to want it. So you have to do it, And you can't say, I can't. Because improve and...
Yes.
achieve it. Tell us that you can, because it's nothing that you can't, So kids, even he was like first or second grade, yeah. So for us, this was the motto of our life, let's say.
Yeah, and now with such a strong focus on you, were your sister jealous?
No, I don't think so. No. Well, I think you have to. I am sure, and you can ask Verona also, because she's always around. So they were more relieved. So, it's good. It's not me. It's good. It's not me, because with all this love and care, and I had also a lot of responsibility, pressure. Like never. I mean, I would never. It's too much for a kid.
Yeah,
it's too much for a kid. So that's why they had no reason to be jealous.
It was more like a relief.
Okay.
But I mean, she could have gone for another things, You do chess, and then you do this, you do this, you do this.
Maybe he recognized the talent.
Yeah.
And he saw that I was like skilled in this field. And why to do everything if you can succeed with one?
Do you try to do or to avoid the same mistake with your kids of trying to build like a project in your kids?
No. I try to introduce them with chess, as I mentioned before. I saw that they had more fun on playing, on football, on other things, on learning at school, let's say, and then I stopped immediately. Yeah. Well, it was a very hard decision for me to tell them, stop now. I brought them in different championships like European Championship, World Championship. They participated in different championships. Aikuna, my daughter, 15, she became the school champion 2 days ago. So they still play for fun, but it's nothing comparable to what I was used to.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is like something, when I see them playing, it's like, what the wow, my God. I mean, with 15, I was playing, I was facing world champions, like decades world champions, Nona Gaprindashvili. And I was 14 years old. And they play at school. Oh my God, what's that?
Were you nervous?
I had a very good game, an excellent game. And years after, maybe 15 years after, there have been people knowing me because of that game. And in the moment that I was thinking, like, having lights and hopes that I would succeed, the only thing I was thinking about was how happy my father would be with this game.
What was the beauty of that game?
Well, it was a very aggressive game, very...
Since the start.
Yeah, I mean, since the start. The game in itself was very interesting. So I was a kid and she was like, I was used to study her games at the age of 5 and 6,
Yeah.
And it was like we studied her games 1 week, one game. Every single move, I had to find her moves. My father had the book, and I had the chess board, and he was trying to make me understand, think about it, what would Gaprindashvili play in this situation, yeah? And I tried and tried and tried till I found
How many hours?
Think about it. I mean, hours. Think about it. One day, after 10 years, let's say you studied her, you play against her, This was the beauty of the game also, except the others.
You said that it wasn't a happy idea, that you were only thinking about your father.
No, of course not. Not only the father, but also federation, nation, and things like that. Because I grew up with this mentality that I have to do this because of the others, to make the others happy. This is not a very good reason of life.
Do you think that?
Nowadays I think that I have to do, or my kids have to do things that make them happy.
Do you think that in a way those guys that talk with your father were right? in your mind, you kind of belong to the party. You were trying to satisfy everybody but yourself.
Yeah.
But
that's why I feel like sad about that time, you know? Because
I understand. Like it's difficult, like for somebody so young to have to think about everybody but you.
Yeah.
But then the rebel teenager came and said, like, no more.
And it is very sad too, because I didn't touch a chessboard for 7 years.
Yeah.
But not even touching it.
Did you ever want it? But you said, like,
I cried a lot. I saw my chess board, you know, it was like dusty. I felt the dust. I didn't open it, you know. It was very sad.
So for you, it wasn't like, I'm not interested. It's like, I'm very interested.
I'm very interested, but I don't want to do it. Yes.
Wow. So you were rebel, really rebel.
Yeah. I just did it because, more because of him, because of these rules that they build around me. Yeah. So, but in the meantime, I had my life back.
So you were like Gandhi in your house, like passive resistance, and said like, I'm not going to fight you. I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
It was not easy with my father.
Yeah.
This was the worst thing.
A lot of fights.
I mean, this was worse than the prison for him.
Wow. A lot of fights, I think, I guess.
Yeah. Well, we had sometimes even months we didn't talk to each other. So we met in the floor, let's say, and we were like strangers.
And what do you think about your father now?
Well, the guy, he tried his best. It was not my best. But I can't blame him. He did what he could do. He did what he... He didn't meant bad.
It's complicated, the relationship with fathers and stuff like that. Like in my case, like it has been so long since I don't talk with my father. Like long. And some days ago I was talking with a friend from the United States. And my father wanted me to be a lawyer. And he was the first person that gave me like as a gift a computer. When in the time where there were no computers.
I understand,
But he had like the vision, like this is the future.
Yeah. He was right.
He was right, exactly. And I was, and he was saying like your personality is kind of like you argue a lot. You should be a lawyer and you will earn good money and stuff. And you know, like we have been talking about how journalism has gone down and everything. And I was talking with my friend, and it's like, you know, it kind of sucks that my father was right. You know, like I don't want to admit it. You know, I don't want to admit that, but probably would have had like a very different life, like maybe more stable if I would be a lawyer, and definitely if I would have focused on computers, programming and stuff. He just had the vision, but you know, you're a rebel and you say like, no, man.
But it's nothing wrong with being rebel and doing their own experience. I mean, your own experience.
No.
I mean, you have time enough. My time is over. But you have time enough to rethink about the future.
I don't know. And well, in that point, your chessboard was like dusty and stuff. When was the next time that you played a game?
Well, after 7 years, the first Olympiad, my first championship after my return, let's say, comeback, was Olympiad in Istanbul, 2000. Mm-hmm. It was a very bad experience for me. Very bad experience. I mean, I remembered the time I was on top. And this was like, my last championship was 1993. My last international championship was 1991. Mm-hmm. So, and it was nothing the same, of course. I remember I had like a breakdown, let's say. It was a very, very, very difficult period for me during the Olympiad. I had like very good games, you know, and I couldn't succeed because you are out of shape. First of all, you are out of experience, and things change in 10 years. Yeah. But I remember how I felt. This was very disturbing because I had this, my face was lemon, like very, if you saw me, you felt something is wrong with this woman, and I had this contraction of my
like
teeth.
The muscle, like tension.
A lot of tension. And I remember when I went, I get up from my chair to go to the toilet. Meanwhile, I was playing. I was orientated. So, even I couldn't walk properly, Your
heart beating.
My heart was beating, so my hands were like sweating, and I felt very bad. This was all because I realized I was not anymore the same woman, the same girl or the same strength,
Yeah.
So, of course, you never, I never came back like once upon a time.
Why is the reason why you took chess again? Like, why did you start again all over after that time?
Because there was no pressure at all anymore. They gave up.
Now I want to play.
Now I want to play. Okay. They give up, and then my father said, "What are you doing? Don't do it," he said. He was right again.
Yes.
He was again right,
Yes, yeah.
So don't go back. He said, don't play anymore. But we never talked about chess then. Years and years. I played a lot of tournaments after that, and we never talked about it. He never asked me how it was.
And did you felt different in a good or a bad way that he wasn't asking?
No, it was okay. It was okay. I had what I wanted. So, not to give him the pleasure to tell me that this was wrong and this was good and this was bad and this was, how could you do this?
When was your last tournament?
I had, because of pandemia, so we had to do some online championships. But the very last physical one, let's say, the normal one, was last year in Montenegro, Mediterranean Championship.
Okay.
I'll have, international one, let's say, but I was national champion. My last title was 2000, December 2000. So, and I decided to play only the last tournament that I will have in this year, which is Francophonie Championship, which is going to be in July in Morocco, and then Olympiad, which will be held in Chennai, India, in August. And then I will stop forever. My husband doesn't believe this as well. He says, I heard you saying that a lot of times. I will give up chess. But it's for real. I don't have time to spend it.
Yeah.
So I don't have, I'm a mother of 3 kids. I'm working hard to earn the bread of the family, which is not easy anymore.
How do you, would you describe your relationship with chess? Like, you have this period where it was imposed to you, but then you really like it and you feel bad that you miss it. Nowadays, how do you feel about chess?
It's a great game. It's beautiful. It's like music. I would rather play a game of chess than listen to Mozart.
That's profound.
No, it's not. Of course, music, it's music, but I just want to make you understand how I feel about chess, Yeah. It's like you enjoy this like a dance.
And there are some...
and it depends on the game, of course. So there are games in which you are playing a tango.
Yeah.
There are others who you do like... But whatever, after the Olympiad that I mentioned, I felt very, very, very bad. So I got used to losing also. Because for me, losing was something which was unacceptable, So I understood that I will play for fun more than as, like, I'm not a professionist. Nobody in Albania can be a professionist in chess. Because a professionist needs to be like, this is your work and nothing else. And you know that I struggle to do a lot of things. Yeah. And in the meantime, we do chess also. So if you are not a professionist, what are you expecting from a game which takes you all your life to be good, So that's why I went a bit easier, but it's always very sad if I lose. It's always very sad. So I can't sleep at night, And sometimes I can't sleep at night.
And you're like replaying
the game, and how could I do this? How could I do this? How could I do this?
Just mistakes.
Yeah. So that's why it's enough. It's enough. I can't handle this anymore. So it's a way of escape. It means a way of saving yourself from harming yourself from
from something that you love, but
yes,
it's kind of
yeah. I mean. But it's, I would really, really recommend to everybody, because it's something which bring a lot in your life.
And between those times, like, you were playing chess as a kid so much, then you become a rebel, then you played again. And where, and when and where did you meet Nardi? What happened?
We met, I was in university studying, and he was a friend of my sister. So I was nobody in chess, and he was nobody in my life in that time. So we got to know each other. And I recognized that I needed a guy like him.
Okay. How is a guy like him?
Amazing.
Oh, well, yeah. I need a girl like
No, he's very helpful. He's very supportive. He is very warm-hearted, very kind. I was used to, the only man of my life was my father, let's say, very tough guy. And he's very tolerant. I mean, he was like a friend, and he is still a friend to me. I mean, there is nothing I can't talk about it with him. Yeah. And when I think about my past, so there was nothing you could talk with my father.
It's completely the opposite.
Completely the opposite. So, I mean, I needed a guy who could support me and who was able to love me the way I was,
Yeah.
And we still have a lot of differences, let's say. We are totally different also to each other. Not to each other, but I mean, as personalities. But maybe the expression that different
like
poles, they are the opposites, different poles, they are attractive to each other, so it's true.
And is it difficult to hold like different religion between the two of you?
Well, before we decided to get married, so we have been talking about this a lot. For Nardi, was never a problem that I had another religion. For me, it was always a problem that he had another religion, Of course, I loved the guy, but I considered this like, religion should be stronger than love in the beginning,
Okay.
For me, it was like, no. A Muslim guy would never have the chance to approach to me.
And then Nardi came.
And my God. And then Nardi came. I was like even checking my sisters, But
why it would be God before love.
No, it's not God. Before God is always before every single love. But religion is something else and God is something else. I mean, God is the same in every kind of religion.
Yeah.
The ways we are approaching to Him are different. So
Exactly.
God is before love.
Maybe God is love.
God is the only love. Not the only love, but the first love of my life, let's say, yeah?
Okay.
Because everybody have different point of views. But religion shouldn't be before love.
Okay. Uh-huh.
So one day I understood that this is not important at all.
Yeah.
For me, it's very important that he believes in God and I believe in God. We have our own way. We don't have pressure to each other. So you can't imagine this, that I was fasting and he was fasting during this time. And I'm Catholic and he's Muslim. During evening, he's reading Quran and I'm reading my Bible.
But it's not necessary for your religion. Yeah.
Yes, it's not necessary, but it's not necessary. It's not a rule, but it's always necessary to come closer to God, according to my opinion.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, he's fasted 40 days in the Mount of Temptation. So, I mean, why not? If you feel that you are getting near God.
So Muslim got that right?
No.
Fasting.
God is the same. It's not Muslim, it's not Catholic, it's not Orthodox, it's not Protestant.
Yeah.
But
fasting is a nice...
Fasting, it's this is the second year I'm experiencing the same, experiencing fasting. And I saw that I am wiser and I'm closer to God. All this month I'm every chapter of Bible, sometimes we discuss also about it, how it is in your religion, how it is in my religion. So we discuss about the things that I read, because he's reading every day, even in the time that he's not fasting. So I hope I will do this also.
Both of you are very religious.
Oh, I don't know if I should consider this like that. I mean, both of us are very... connected to God.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So being religious is, we are very, very, for us, God is very important. For our kids, God is very important. They don't consider him Allah. They them, it's not, they know there is a God. But if it's Muslim or Catholic, because this is our religion, it doesn't matter for our kids. And this is very good, I guess. Or I think, at least.
And was from your father or from your family that...
No. My father was very tolerant about religion. He was Catholic. He got married to a Muslim woman who converted herself to Catholic also, my mom.
It was in the blood to get from Muslim.
No, come on. My mom converted to Catholic.
And the other way, he got a woman that was Muslim and you got a man that was Muslim.
Yeah. But I'm Catholic. I will die Catholic.
Yeah, but you follow the steps of your father of going for
I told you we are so similar to each other. We were so similar. I told you,
I don't know how, in Mexico, all of us are Catholic. By raised, we are Catholic.
Yeah, but this is something else. I mean, being traditionally Catholic or traditionally Muslim, it doesn't mean that you are one of them.
Yeah, but I don't know how much... Because you actually read the Bible, right? And probably there are a lot of... I don't know. The thing is, nowadays everybody says that they are spiritual and stuff like that because they don't like to say I'm a believer of a religion or I don't know, whatever, of a God. It's kind of the same of looking for answers and looking for peace and looking for a bigger meaning in life.
Yeah. I think Voltaire said one time, even if God would not exist, we should have created him.
Yeah.
So it's a way of feeling peaceful.
Yeah.
Having always or looking always at a light in the tunnel, you know?
Yeah.
So I think God gives you a lot of opportunities to be better, to improve yourself, and to be better not only with yourself and family, but also to the others.
Yeah. I don't know also like how hard was to be a believer during the communist time.
Oh, you don't know. I'll show you. I'll tell you how it was. Till 1967, we had, let's say, these churches and mosques all over the country. We were Catholic, Christians, let's say, once upon a time, and then with the Ottoman Empire, the most part of us, they became Muslim during the Ottomans' 500 years. After the communism, the religion was a little bit lighter, let's say, not that radical. And 1967, Roja decided to destroy every single church and mosque all over the country and to declare Albania as the only atheist country in the world. So it was very hard in this time to consider yourself a Catholic, an Orthodox, or a Muslim. So these are the three main religions in Albania. People were asked, not people, but kids were asked in the schools, what did you eat yesterday, you know? We had no idea why. We were kids. But if somebody from us would say like fruits or dessert or baklava or whatever, they would have known that we had a celebration home. It was like time of Easter time or Christmas time or Bayram time or whatever. So can you imagine this? Priesters and imams, they were sent to the prisons. So some of them, they were killed. So some of them, they died in the prison. So it was a very dark time for people who were like very connected to God. I remember my grandmother, she was always like doing or praying rosary. And I remember, so she was always doing the sign of a cross and praying before eating. And I will tell you a funny thing. Yesterday I was in Shkodra, and we were like having activities all day long. And in the evening I couldn't eat because I was fasting, and everybody in my group knew that I was fasting. So we sat. They waited for me so we could eat all together, you know. And the food came, and I was like doing the sign of cross and praying in my. And he said, "Come on, are you fasting? Where are you?" So I do this in the same time. It's very.
I think it's great. I think it's good that you don't, you say like, fasting can be a good way to be closer to God. Yeah. Then I implement it into my life. That's good.
And I have a very good friend of mine. He studied to be a priest, but he never became a priest. Thanks God, he got married and have 3 wonderful kids. Because we need people like him to be in the world and to be normal people like you and me. So always when I have questions about the Bible or about God, about, things that I read, I send him messages. So like I screenshots and I send it to him. And he asked me once, I forgot I was coming from Israel and I was in Hungary to take the other flight, and it was like 4 o'clock in the night. And I sent him the message and he said, "You are not sleeping?" And I said, "Oh, I'm in the airport, Mm-hmm. And he was explaining to me what I was reading just with other words so I could I could understand, And some days ago, I was reading the Bible in the 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. in the morning, because after you get up early in the morning, I got a cup of coffee before the fasting begins, and I'm awake. Mm-hmm. And I read the Bible. And then I saw something that I was like, and I sent him the message again. And he said, "Are you in an airport?" I said, no, I'm just reading the Bible. And I know that you are 24 hours awake, so I can bother you anytime. It's good if you have a reference. A person who is wiser than you in this field and have more experience and more information about it. And so I can always bother him, and he will always be happy to shine me.
Do you think that the dictatorship kind of made all the religions being like united like as a common front against communism and make them all these religions, make them more friendly to each other?
It's very sad to say this, and I don't want to say this because for me it was a very bad decision to get rid of religion. It was a horrendous thing to do, actually, to the people, your people. But that's why we are in this situation, because we forget about religion more than 30 years. We got toleranter to each other. Our common enemy was only communism, and when the religion come back, everybody was going on their own way, loving the neighbor. This is amazing. You can't find something similar in other countries. So let's say in ex-Yugoslavia, they were tolerant about religion. So the Muslim people there, they are more radical than in Albania because they never lost contact to religion, you know? So that's why I have to agree. I don't want to agree, but I have to agree that it was kind of the good thing in a bad thing, you know?
Yeah.
So they did a very bad thing to the people, but out of this, it became a very good thing, which is the harmony that we have today.
Yeah. I just can't imagine. Like it's just so different.
Yeah.
Because in Mexico, like we consider for many years during the conquest of like Mesoamerica was called before Mexico and all that region. Like the Inquisition was like the bad guys.
Yeah.
So I don't remember if it. Well, yeah, there was in some point persecution, but not as strong as really like condemn religion like so much. It must be like very difficult to really believe in something and try to act like that way, and you need to hide it.
Yeah. It was very bad for people who were really believers and really connected to religion.
Yeah.
So they couldn't practice anymore, but I think they never lost contact to God.
I don't know who says, I think Churchill, I don't remember, that says that the Balkans produce more story that they can consume.
Churchill was, yes.
I think we can like talk and talk. I would like to talk also about Serbia and stuff, but I know that you have things to do, and
but you well, I mean, I'm not very tired to talk. I studied in University of Foreign Languages, German language, and then I studied law.
Okay.
Another university.
So you actually went for law.
Yeah, I went for Yeah. So I did a master degree in international and European law.
Okay.
And another master degree in civil law.
Okay.
I worked for several years for the government, and my last, let's say, official duty was consul in Rome. I don't know, maybe I mentioned this to you, but I just want to mention this today. And when I came back from Rome, I was like fed up of being working for this government, and I decided to go my own way. And I've been working several years in an office with a coach of mine, the national team chess coach, trainer. He was one of the best, he is still one of the best lawyers of the country. So I've been blessed, actually. God gave me a lot of opportunities. So I worked with him in a very special case. Well, a lot of cases, but I would prefer to talk about a very special case, which is the case of Gjergji. Years ago, so more than 10 years ago, it was an explosion in Albania. And a lot of people get killed through this explosion. A lot of people got heavily injured through this explosion, and it was caused by government because they built a demolition fabric.
Okay, yeah, factory.
A factory where they demolated bullets and military stuff. And it was not done in the right place. It was not done properly. It was not, people were used to work there. They were like unprofessional and not being taught how to do it, with what to do it. So I saw all these files. So we have been fighting more than 10 years against the government.
Oh, wow.
With these cases. So we had 8 of the heavily injured people. Yeah. And we succeeded. Oh. So we got, there is another one case in the upper level, how should I call this in English? I don't know. It's like the high level, the highest level of the judgments.
Oh, okay. Like the
Supreme Court. One case. We have 2 cases in the appeal court, and all the others are done. Okay. Our case, the first case that we finished, actually, my office, me and my colleague finished, it was like a model for the others also.
Yeah, I understand.
So they were like
set the precedent.
The precedent. Wow. For the rest. So I did a beautiful, huge thing with our office. So people were very happy with us, and they were like, we could change their life. So in the moment I finished these cases, because in the appeal court, so no need to go there because they will do it without the lawyer, Okay. So we already did everything, so they have the documents, the files, and everything, and they will decide it in a room. Let's say a lot of judges together, and they will come with an answer, and we know how the answer will be because we have the precedent. Yeah. So in the time that I finished the case, let's say after 10 years of working and investing, not only your emotions and your energy, but also money on it, because people were not able enough to pay for it. I mean, to pay the taxes, because if you, let's say, ask for the government to pay you like 100,000 euros back because they damage you, you have to pay 3% of this amount of money to the court. But not only this, you have to pay like the damage calculator expert, let's say. You have to pay the doctors, you have to pay, because they are fees to do. Why? Yeah. Because they want to make your life more complicated, and so you will give up. So what I did, it was like receiving all these people. I did the payment for most of it, not for everybody, because some of them, they were able to do this themselves. I did all the payments myself, and in the end of the cases that you had back what you worked for. This was amazing. Wow. So it's not only just to be proud of. No. So I mean, it's of course I also did all this because of chess. When you think about it, because But also in a way, like by quitting it, maybe you really went to other areas that you also liked. Yeah, of course. If I would be like concentrated like once upon a time, nothing else than chess, I would not be able to. But chess give me the ability to smell the success, let's say, or this is the right move. Yes. No, I didn't know at all. That's incredible. I thought I told you that part. No, and it was that's incredible, because at the end of the day, like, you really make the lives of these people 8 cases, and it's one that is still in the High Court, in the Supreme Court, and 2 others are but they are already, let's say, they already know their future. It's a matter of time. That's amazing. It's good. It's really, really good. It's very good. I'm very happy. And how do you feel like in those days? Do you feel like, this is a win? Like, this is a victory? Oh, I was all my life long thinking about victories. I don't want to think now about victories. But I don't give a shit now about victories, Yeah. I just want to be like, to do whatever I do, to do it with a lot of love. Yeah, like, you definitely focus on helping people. Yeah, that was a case that was important to be solved properly. But I'm really proud of our office, that we worked more than 10 years.
Yeah, probably other lawyers couldn't like pay for the thing.
No, of course not. So I know how the standard was all over, and I felt like they were like trying to profit of disaster, of tragedy.
Yeah.
You know? And I always, when Nardi asked me about how are things going on, what if you lose? And I said, who cares about if I lose my money and my time? They lost their lives.
Yeah.
They are not, families got destroyed because of this. Maybe they are still in life, but they lost their, they lost everything. Life is not the same after this accident.
And what is going to be the resolution for them? Like what they are going to give them?
They already have taken back the damages, which is, there have been people taking like 200,000 euros or more than 200,000 euros, So some of them, they've been asking for 250,000. One of them, 170,000. It depends on the case and on the experts' statements, let's say. But 200,000 euros in Albania, it's a lot of money. But it doesn't bring you back the life.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm not happy because they got the money.
Yeah.
I'm happy because they got the right. So they fought, or we have been fighting about something which was our right.
Probably the government wasn't very happy.
Of course not. Of course not. We had, even in the court, we had like fights between each other. Fights, but really fights, Wow. Come on, you can't take this personally.
You're a strong woman, right? Like that's why sometimes you tell me like, yeah, no, it's better if I don't handle this.
No. Well, I learned to relax and to react like differently, but I still don't manage everything good.
Some people say that it's important to have a monster inside. Like people that don't have that monster, they are just harmless. And there is nothing good in being harmless. Like you need to be strong and tame your beast and, be able to control it, but be able to have it in the moment you need it.
I don't know, maybe you and me, we have a lot of things in common. And your country and my country, our countries have a lot of things in common, and maybe you will understand me, but sometimes I feel like very bad that I'm thinking this kind of life that we do, we can be very neutral. We can be very tolerant. I feel so bad and so pity for myself because I would like to be like really relaxed and tolerant, but nobody would understand my tolerance.
Yeah.
So I live in a country in which I tried several times, I swear to you, to be like the gentlewoman, lady and whatever. And I see that people think that I'm weak, And I sucks, totally, right? When I get my beast outside of me, oh my God, then you see their reaction. So I feel very bad for my kids that they are growing up in a country in which you have to fight for everything.
People confuse kindness with weakness. Yeah, it's not the same. Like sometimes you're kind just because you're kind, not because you're weak.
Yeah. But I would prefer to be only kind.
Yeah, but then everybody will take advantage.
I know. It's not the right country to do this.
Yeah,
but if you would live like somewhere else in Norway or whatever, kindness is something very common and very...
For me, it took... I was in Denmark and I don't know why I started to be like in a choir, like what people sing. I just entered just for fun, and they were like hugging each other at the end.
Yeah.
And for me, it was so difficult. It's so something very stupid, but it was so difficult to really hug somebody. Like I was coming from working as a journalist, like hard stuff. Yeah. And I don't know, like you become so like strong and trying to have like no feelings and be so it was very weird, like kind of breaking that kind of I don't know, like shell or like armor and say like, okay, you can feel and people will not take advantage of it. It's incredible. But some countries you give the hand and they take
our countries need some more time.
more development.
Yeah.
That's why they are developing countries, I guess.
I mean, yeah, maybe the generation of our kids or the kids of our kids, they will feel like...
Kids are so smart. It's incredible. Like, they managed the hostel and everything. They are very well raised. Like,
they're amazing. I've been blessed with the family I have, so thanks to God.
And you have boys.
Yeah.
Your father probably would be like, oh my God, the only thing that I wanted.
Yeah.
But I mean, I didn't know about this case that you were telling me. You mentioned something about that you had like some case that was, you were waiting for it before deciding if you wanted to travel to another country and stuff. But I didn't know like everything that involved.
This is, if you Google the case, you will recognize this is the let's say, the case of the century. So we had always like easy cases, you know, or properties or things like that. But I mean, fighting against the government, taking, I mean, damages back or whatever, the compensation of damages back, it's something very rare. And the case that I worked with, Gjergji case, it's one of the biggest cases that every single attorney office would dream about it.
Do you think that it could be some sort of like payback that they want, or some retribution from you, like the government, like make your life a little bit harder?
No.
Because in Mexico.
No. In Mexico, it's like that. No, nowadays not anymore. First of all, second of all, it's like we live in a democracy.
Yeah, I guess we don't.
Well, we had a tough time during the court, but now that the cases are finished, so nobody cares about it.
Okay.
They just have to pay the money, and this is all.
Okay.
They are in trouble because they don't have money, but this is all. They will find it in a way.
And probably the people are very happy when they got the notification. Like,
they couldn't believe. They couldn't believe. And the first thing I told them, because usually I don't do promises. I never promise. Because we live in a country that you can't hold your promises, you know, and I don't want to be the one who will feel bad like that about this, yeah? So I told them, this is a winning case. I will win it. But I can't promise you when. Because it's a matter of time. It's not up to me. It's up to the system, let's say. So they knew it, or they knew, well, they had the information that I will win this case, but they didn't know it when. Once they recognized that the money was there and the compensation was there, they couldn't believe it.
Did they ever lose hope during the process, during the 10 years? They're like, I feel
but I feel very bad for the case that we have in the Supreme Court. And I had a communication with the guy some days ago, and I told him, when you write me, I feel so ashamed.
Okay.
I feel so ashamed because it's since 2 years in the Supreme Court, waiting for one seance, you know, for 5 minutes. For 5 minutes, it's 2 years there. And I feel bad about it, you know? It's not up to me. I have nothing to do. I mean, I'm always there. I write letters to make them understand that people are dying. They need this money to improve their lives, you know?
Yeah.
But who cares about it?
And do you consider also that it's like a case that is already won? You just need to pass time? But
of course.
Okay.
Of course, there is no coming back. I mean, this is we know that it's a winning thing, a winning game. Checkmated.
Usually, I end the conversation with 2 questions because most of the audience is people that travel. So the first question is, what do you think traveling has give you? You mentioned some stuff before, but like if you can like give it in one sentence, like what do you think it gave you or teach you?
Oh yeah, it depends from the country you come from. So I came from a country, I told you, a very isolated one, so it gives me a lot. Maybe for a German guy or for a British guy the traveling will not give him the same. But for me it was like you became open-minded through the travel. You gather a lot of information, got a lot of experience through the travel. You became a better man through the travel, according to my opinion. So I always tell my kids, for example, that your English or your German or your Italian will get better if you travel. So there are a lot of things that you get through traveling.
Yeah.
And you feel free. You are, it's like breathing differently. Yeah. If you are away, so you don't have the pressure that you have home, so you are more relaxed. So it's I encourage all the people, and I envy the one who had always the opportunity to travel. Now it's not for everybody, it's easy, of course, but for the most part of your audience, of course, it's easy. The only thing is that they have to to jump
first step.
into
The last question is, if you could choose a song that you want me to remember you with that song, which song would be?
Oh my God, this is a very tough question. So I think whatever we have been talking to, it was not. Well, it comes spontaneous, but now I have to think.
It's the end game.
The winner takes it all.
The winner takes it all. ABBA.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. That's
because the winner takes it all.
Yeah, sometimes for better and sometimes for worse.
Yeah.
But that's definitely a true in the world.
Thank you very much. It was my pleasure.
It was really, really a pleasure. As you know, I was really, really waiting for this.
So good that we did it today.
Yeah. Thank you very much for listening to the podcast, and see you around.
So, what do you think about today's episode? Don't forget to share your thoughts answering the polls and questions in the Spotify version of this podcast. Remember that in the description there are links to the interviewee song. You can also listen to the Spanish version of this podcast with different guests, or listen to it into different platforms. If you want to watch videos about my travels to different countries, visit my YouTube channel. You can also support me in my Patreon, Buy Me a Coffee, or Anchor page. In all of them, my username is Juan Around. In Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and in all social networks, you can also find me as Juan Around. All links are in the description of this episode and in the description of this podcast. Subscribe and share. See you around.
Your booze mean nothing. I've seen what makes you cheer.